Hi, good morning. Happy Sunday. I'm Kelly DeMarco, and I have started YouTubing about my husband's journey with cancer. My husband was diagnosed with stage 3 multiple myeloma with severe kidney involvement in June of this year, 2022. And I had created a YouTube channel initially to talk about all things green and growing and caring for our planet and I really wanted to help people find ways to care for our planet that also aligned with like who you are and the busy life that you're already living. And I just started, creating these videos because I needed an outlet for myself as we traveled this journey. I also just wanted to give myself a space to speak about the things that I care about most. So here it is. Right now I am in our hoop house. We have some rabbits, and so you might hear some noises. They were pitter-pattering around my feet a few minutes ago and saying hello. And so it's raining outside. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. We're nearing the end of August now, and how's he doing? He's probably had one of the better weeks he's had all summer. He's been able to keep food down. He's on a 3 times a week dialysis schedule and seems to be getting that routine dialed in. The medications that he's taking, there's just a ton. But he's doing okay. He started cooking again, which is huge. And I think that's really lifting his spirits. I think just re-engaging in activities that really mean a lot to him and help him contribute to our home and our family. And when I say cooking, I mean cooking. Like he's really getting creative in the kitchen. So that lets me know a lot about how his spirits are doing. Yesterday here on our farm, we had a huge work day, and we had several of his friends from Homestead High School come out and help us, which was awesome. I mean, they tackled our gutters and dropped some limbs from trees. We wood chipped brush that had come down from tree limbs last year. We cleaned up all the weeds around our fire pit, created huge stacks of wood. It was just quite an active day, and it was lovely to meet everyone. It's fun when you kind of share stories about I didn't know him in high school. I've heard stories from his perspective. It's kind of fun to hear from other people's perspective as well. The thing that I feel really moved to talk about today that's been, I think, bubbling up for me over the past few days is life and death. And death is certain for all of us. We're all going to die at some point. I work in the health profession. I see the certainty of death. It is different when someone that you love is diagnosed with something that could lead to death sooner than any of us anticipated. And there's this element of uncertainty all the time. Like, I could be driving to work and I can't control what happens around me. I can't control, who decides to pop into my lane at the wrong time. So really every day I step out of bed and enter into my day, death is a very real possibility. But somehow we are created with this internal programming that helps us plan far out into the future with this idea that we have a certain number of years ahead of us. And so I think what I've been contemplating is like, death is certain, but whether we live, like really live fully while we have life coursing through our veins and through our blood, that's not certain. And early on as an occupational therapist, I remember watching people who were newly retired, and they would all of a sudden be getting sick. They would be coming in with, strokes and heart attacks and new diagnoses of diabetes. And I thought, what's going on? Like, they just retired. Like, they just kind of got a free license to create a life that is of their choosing. And why are they getting sick? And then I worked on a burn unit for a while, and boy, I mean, that is traumatic. And I saw people who, were burnt severely and had a really hard time with recovery, and they might have 25% of their body burned. And then I saw a man who came through our burn unit who had 75 to 90% of his body was burned. And this man, I mean, he wanted to climb Mount Rainier with his son, his high school age son. And that was on his bucket list. And that was the goal that motivated him to move through his intensive, rigorous therapy and to heal. And it worked for him. In spite of the severity of his burns, he miraculously came through the other side and fulfilled his dream. And that really stuck with me. And since then, I've personally committed myself to engaging in challenges in life that my heart really wanted to do it. And yet there was this element of can I do it? Really? That's not easy. That's hard. I don't know if I can do it. But watching other people go through really hard things and come out successful on the other side, I was just well, if they can do it, I can do it. If they can do that, I can do this. And so I think in this contemplation of are we really going to live? I think, I don't know, this is a question for you to consider for you, but when I talk with people, I get the sense that a lot of people are just sort of half living and going through the motions of life. And doing all the things that one is supposed to do to be a responsible adult. But how many are actually really doing what their heart is calling to them to do? And what are the barriers? What are the barriers that keep one from doing those things? And I have this belief that if we're really tuning into our deepest heart's desires, our hearts are embedded deep within the flesh of our being, and our body is made of earth and spirit. And I think our hearts are calling us to live our best lives, to live a life that is deeply fulfilling, deeply rewarding. And easy? No, I don't think we're called to live an easy life. But I think we're called to live our best lives, given whatever circumstances surround us. And I've always lived with this motto of I don't want to have regrets. I don't want to look back on my life and think, oh, I wished I had done this thing. I wished I had done that. What would have happened if I had? I have participated in things where I'm why did I do that? And it's taken me time to really wrestle with well, what was going on inside of me at the time that I made the decision to do that thing. And usually when I look at it through that lens, even if the thing I did was hard, painful sometimes, maybe had consequences that were challenging to deal with, I could come to this place of like, I did that because I didn't want to look back and wonder what would have happened if I hadn't. And I did it because at the time, like whatever was going on for me, that seemed like the right, best next thing to do. And I think that I believe that our planet needs this from us right now. Like, I think I really believe that our planet needs us to be willing to explore that for each of us. Like, what is the right next best thing for me? Like, what is calling to me from deep inside? And what are the barriers that keep me from doing those things? I've shared about our farm and about like we were in a huge place of transition, and the reason that we decided to venture into buying a farm, Tim had started into cooking, and we were in this place of like, what do we do? Like, we were reinventing our lives basically, and he started cooking, and one year for Valentine's Day, like he was cooking, and he was cooking rustic Italian food, and he was really good, and he was just learning all kinds of things about it. And so one year for Valentine's Day, I was like, go. This is my gift to you. Go to Italy, go to Tuscany, go to Orvieto, and all of the places that are calling to you, and go study with the nonas. Like, go figure this out and figure out what you want to do with this. And I think I supported him in that because at the time I really needed some space just to like consider what's next for me. What's next for me with you? What's next for me by myself? What's next for me in our family? What's next for me in life? And while he was in Italy, he spent a lot of time just touring around. He went to Assisi, and we both have a strong affinity for St. Francis, and just love his spirit and his energy and his connection to nature. And Tim and his travels kind of kept coming back to Assisi and spent a good amount of time there. I personally was spending a lot of time just in meditation and reflections and just writing, and it was during that trip that we both came to like the conclusion that our next best step together was to have a farm, like to have a place that we could, own, so that we could create it the way that we wanted to, so that we could cultivate the land the way that we wanted to, so that, we could grow our food the way that we wanted to, so we could invite people in and like create a space that we could welcome people to. And for me, it was like creating the space and opening up our doors for welcoming people and lodging eventually. I thought of like a bed and breakfast / retreat kind of space. For him, it was all the food preparations and really inviting people into an experience of slow food and slow dining. And it was during that trip that we, like, independently of each other, we like refound each other in this shared vision. And we were living on a small, like, it was a milking house, the old milking house that had been renovated into a small house. And it was in Northwest Washington, just north of Bellingham. It was a beautiful, beautiful piece of land. We loved it. Like, it was gorgeous. It sat right at the foot of the Cascade Mountain Range. We could see Mount Baker. We loved our community there. Our girls had amazing friends. My sister lived nearby with her family. I loved my job. But there was something in this vision for us that meant like coming back to the Midwest and coming back to our roots and coming to a space where, family from all over could could come and be a part of this with us. My family's scattered everywhere, and Tim's family's here. This was also kind of the place that was in closest proximity to like a wide range of our friends in our community. So that's why we chose Wisconsin. The legalities of doing what we wanted to do were a little bit easier to work with here as well. So, and we sort of had this vision in mind for like what we wanted this farm place to look like. And we couldn't make that happen in Washington. We didn't have the budget for it. And so coming here just made sense on a lot of different levels. And, you know, the transition was not an easy one. It was like I had to get my license. I had to like take different examinations. There were a lot of steps, and those steps could have been daunting, and they could have, like, there was so much good about where we were that it would have been very easy. It would have been very easy to like say, that's too much work. Like, it's too much. Things are good where we are. Let's just stay. But we both were feeling in our heart a need to kind of come back to our roots in the Midwest and return. And so we did. And frequently over the past many years, frequently or occasionally, we've kind of like had to relook at that, because when things are hard, you miss and you long for a time when things felt really good and easy. And so I think it's made us question our decision. But every time we've questioned, we've kind of come back to this, consensus that, no, this is right. That this is where we need to be. This is where we need to be doing what we're doing. And I think, as Tim's pain increased over the recent years, it made that questioning more like, we both were questioning in different ways and questioning different aspects of it. And I think the questioning made us, just for me, I had to kind of like keep doing the internal work to be okay with whatever was going on in the moment. And in light of his, like, when he was diagnosed with cancer in June, that's when it's like everything just kind of like the wheels spun backwards, and I could see everything in hindsight. And then I was like, oh, that's why, like, in addition to all the other reasons, like, that's why we needed to be here, and that's why we needed to be here now. Like, I can't imagine going through, I believe we would have had amazing support in the Pacific Northwest. I think the Cancer Treatment Center would have been, in Seattle, and we were a good hour and a half, sometimes several hours north of there, depending on traffic. So having close access to treatment for him is one thing. But I think the other thing is, like, in the midst of this uncertainty, like, I feel like we did. I'm so grateful that we did this when we did. I'm so grateful that we don't have to look back and, like, that I'm not sitting here looking back thinking, like, oh shit, we waited. Like, we waited to pursue this dream, and we waited and now it's too late. Like, we can't do it anymore because, and I felt this kind of time urgency when we started down this road. It was like, we need to do this, and we now is the time, which was 5 years ago. And and I look around and I think, like, well, this is, there's a lot here to manage. But, and so some parts of my brain are going to, like, well, I need to have contingency plans. I need to have backup plans. I need to, like, go through all of the what if scenarios. And I do that for a while, and then I just, like, in the past week, I've really been like coming back to like just appreciating what's here now, like all the work that we've put in to create this space, and that we get to just be here now enjoying it for however much time we get to enjoy it. And Tim, like watching him cook, like just, I don't know, I'm kind of losing my train of thought here. I think speaking from inside of this experience that we're living, and like in my years of like working with people through really challenging times, I think the most challenging thing is like working with somebody who's going through a really hard time, and they're looking back through I think the hardest part is when they look back through their lives and they think, well, what if I have done this like when it was calling out to me? What if I had pursued that dream when I could? What if, and I think even more than like the physical disability, the illness, the injury, like those, what if I had only, are the things that are hardest for people to heal through. And like I said, like death is certain. Death will come. It's like of anything that we can count on, we can definitely count on that. You know, at some point it's going to happen. But there's a whole lot more uncertainty in the arena of like, are we going to fully live when it's our time to live? Are we going to fully live like the life we feel called to live when we have the opportunity to do it? Are we going to pursue the things that are calling to us from our hearts? And I really believe that like all the stuff that we surround ourselves with, some of it is useful. A lot of it is filling a deeper void that I think that void would be filled if we pursued what's moving in our hearts, because it would unlock like this flow of energy that would come in from inside and fill that void. Because that inner, deeper part of us would feel like seen and known and received by us. And so one of the things that gives me peace about going on this journey now with Timmy is like, I feel so grateful that we pursued this when we did. I feel so grateful that, you know, he gets to wake up and look out his window in the bathroom and he can see, you know, the fruits of his labors. And I don't know, you know, what's ahead for us. I don't know what's ahead for me. I don't know what's beyond this. In the midst of this uncertainty, my brain goes there from time to time. And I find that it's okay to let it go there, but it's also like really good for me to just stop and appreciate what's here now and all that we've put into creating what's here now, and just to like enjoy it and celebrate it and allow it to nurture me and allow it to remind me every single day that when we do the inner work, and then we do the work to like create the plan that helps us manifest what's alive in our hearts, like good comes from that. So right now I'm extending a heartfelt invitation to you to like listen to your heart, listen to what's moving inside of you. What is that thing that like keeps emerging and you keep pushing it down, or you keep getting busy, or you keep thinking, I don't know how to do that, so I'm going to put it on hold until I can figure out how. Like, God, there's so much of what we're doing now that we had no idea. Like, no idea. Thank God for Google. Thank God for the internet. Thank God for YouTube videos, because that's how we've learned most of what we do here. With that tool at our disposal, and with the ability to reach out and connect with people on the other side of the planet in like the press of a button, like there's really very little we can't do. You can say that, you know, it's resources that limit you. You can say that it's time that limits you. But I think nothing just magically happens. It's our, you know, we have to put in the legwork, but we wouldn't even like, I don't think we would want it if it just all, like, if we just stepped into this and all of a sudden it's like, presto, the whole farm is here and done and we just get to walk into it. Like it was stepping into this place and visioning how we wanted it to be and doing the work of like laying down the foundation and converting the soil or converting the grass into a healthy, rich soil, and doing that over and over and over, and then planting the seeds and watching them grow, and building the chicken coop and painting the chicken coop and then painting the inside of it. And like all of those things are, it's labor, it's work, but it's part of like manifesting that vision that we had and making that dream come alive. And so I think that's the other piece that I've been contemplating is like work, you know, work. We all work. We're busy. We're doing creatures. Like we don't get through the course of any day without doing some things. So, you know, are you following your heart, and are you spending the time doing the things that speak to you? Like, are you doing the things that are manifesting your dreams? Are you doing the things that are taking you down the road that you want to be traveling down? You know, the beauty of a diagnosis like cancer, the beauty of challenging times is that it forces the question. It forces us to ask that question and to make peace with it one way or another. So are you doing the things that you want to be doing? Are you traveling the road you want to be traveling down? Are you pursuing the stuff that's moving in your heart? And if you're not, why not? And if you are, what do you need to like reach for to be doing more of that? So on this Sunday, it's just an invitation to question that a little bit more and see what comes up for you. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say on that topic. It's a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and thanks for just being present with me and being a part of this journey with me. All right, peace to you.